Experience miraculous abundance. 7. Divine secrets to live supernaturally on an average salary. In the heart of a quaint English village, where the sun gently kissed the rooftops at dusk, Sarah knelt in fervent prayer, her heart beseeching St. Jude to intercede on her family's behalf. She could almost feel the embrace of divine presence wrapping around her like a warm blanket. The air buzzed with sacred tension, whispering secrets of hope that transcended their current struggles. Each breath was filled with anticipation for the miraculous. As the flickering candles cast dancing shadows upon the church walls, Sarah felt an otherworldly surge, an insistent, gentle whisper urging her to share her burdens with the congregation. With tears glistening in her eyes, she stood and laid bare her anxieties, her heart gripped by the pressure of dwindling finances and unyielding responsibilities as a devoted mother of 3. The church held its breath, hearts entwined, and a divine stillness enveloped them. This was no ordinary moment. A palpable reverence hung in the air as parishioners began to rise, one by one, enveloping her in an embrace of love and prayer so thick you could almost taste it. Murmurs of encouragement filled the room, igniting a flicker of faith within Sarah. An elderly parishioner, Mr. Blackwood, known for his wise counsel, stood and proclaimed, "There's an estate, left by our dear leader, to breathe freshness into our community." It was as if the heavens had opened, offering a glimpse of hope and the promise of renewal. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the project into community renewal began, Sarah felt her spirit waver. Doubt tinged the corners of her hope, like the gray clouds foreboding rain. But every prayer whispered among friends pushed the darkness further away. As they gathered in discussion and prayer, their voices harmonized into a beautiful melody of faith echoing through the village streets. Each meeting transformed weariness into determination, and Sarah found herself wearing the armor of resilience crafted by prayer and love. But then, the shadow of opposition loomed. Skeptics arose, warning of the futility of their ambitions, casting doubt like thick fog over the dreams they nurtured. "It's all just wishful thinking," they shouted with jeers. Yet, Sarah felt her resolve crystallize like morning dew glistening in the sun. She wouldn't let fear shatter their hopes. "Let's stand strong," she cried, rallying her community with the strength of lions. There was an energy, small wonders popping up like unexpected blossoms in harsh winter. Neighbors who'd never spoken were joining hands in prayer, producing warmth and cocooning their faith in divine intent. But just as their momentum surged, a setback struck like a thunderclap. Questions arose. Had they misread the signs? Had their prayers fallen upon deaf ears? Doubt lurked, whispering bitterly in the silence, threatening to consume all they had worked for. The very essence of their cherished belief was poised on the brink of a delicate precipice. Would their faith yield abundant grace, illuminating a path forward, or would they succumb to despair's heavy weight? The village hung in precarious balance, eyes turned toward heaven, waiting for a spark, one final divine miracle to lead them all from doubt to ever-sustaining hope. The following day dawned, painting the village in hues of gold and lavender. Sarah stepped outside, heart racing with the weight of worry. The setbacks shadowed her spirit, yet the sun's warmth felt like a reminder of God's presence. She was not alone. She took a deep breath, grounding herself in the promise of the new day. Gathering the community for another meeting was imperative. The church hall buzzed with a mixture of tension and hope, every face illuminated with a flicker of expectation. Sarah stood before them, heart pounding. "We must not lose sight of our purpose," she said, her voice steady but soft. "We've come too far to turn back now." A collective murmur of agreement surged through the group, adding wind to her sails, reminding her that faith thrived not in isolation, but in togetherness. Mr. Blackwood rose, his cane tapping the wooden floor, an echo of time and wisdom. "Remember, dear friends," he stirred the congregation with a gentle smile, "God works in mysterious ways. Every trial we face brings us closer to the blessing prepared for us." The crowd nodded, gathering the strength of those timeless words. As they bowed their heads to pray, Sarah felt an undeniable warmth seep into her bones. It wrapped around her heart like the arms of the divine. When they opened their eyes, their resolve felt renewed. "Tonight," Sarah declared with vigor, "we will hold a candlelight vigil in the town square. Let us illuminate the darkness with our faith." The excitement was palpable. Candles flickered like stars in the heavenly night, guiding them home. That evening, under a vast sky studded with diamonds, villagers gathered, small flames in hand. Their whispered prayers rose like sweet incense towards heaven, swirling with the warm summer air. Each flickering candle reflected shining faces, hope gleaming in their eyes. Sarah felt love enveloping her, a sea of devotion swelling around her. Just as the first notes of hymn began to surround them, an enchanting hush echoed. A figure approached from the edge of the gathering, cloaked in shadows. His silhouette grew clearer as he emerged, an unexpected traveler with an otherworldly glow about him. Gasps spread through the crowd as he drew nearer, each step resonating with a subtle power that seemed to command attention without uttering a word. "What is it?" someone whispered, curiosity sparking like electric tension. The stranger's eyes shone like pools of wisdom, fierce yet inviting. He raised his hand, and an aura of tranquility fell over the people, silencing the murmurs and igniting hearts. "I bring a message from above." He paused, eyes fixed on Sarah. "Your faith has stirred the heavens. Miracles await you, but first you must be willing to embrace them. There are threads of abundance woven into the very fabric of your desires. Will you take hold?" Moments stretched into eternity as the villagers blinked in astonished unity. Sarah's heartbeat quickened. Would they reach for the divine invitation? The atmosphere buzzed with potential as the stars twinkled overhead, shimmering with joyous anticipation. Despite the fear that might cloud her heart, Sarah felt the slightest twinge of eagerness. This was no accident. It was a divine meeting orchestrated by an unseen hand. "Yes, we will," she proclaimed, her voice unwavering. "Together, we will step into this divine promise." As the community echoed her words, resolution filled the air, an unwavering commitment to carry forth with faith whatever may come. But what awaited them on this path to abundance? The night felt still, heavy with divine mystery. What lay before them? Unanswered questions bubbled beneath the surface. As the echoes of Sarah's proclamation faded into the night air, the atmosphere shifted, charged with a divine expectancy. Each villager held their candle, flickers of light bouncing off hopeful faces like promises bound in faith. Sarah felt the intensity of the moment settle deep within her soul. They had ignited a spark, but what would it grow into? The traveler continued to stand there. His presence felt heavy with grace and purpose. "Remember," he spoke softly, the words dancing on the breeze. "Miracles often come cloaked in the unexpected. Open your hearts wide to receive them." His gaze swept across the crowd, lingering on those who appeared weary, yet hopeful. What you are willing to let go of will determine what you can receive. Are you prepared to trust in the unseen? Sarah could see the mixture of doubt and awakening within the eyes of her neighbors. They were ordinary folk with everyday concerns, yet right now something extraordinary was unfurling between them. One by one, hands began to rise, unsteady, shaking with possibility. Mabel, with her white hair and kind smile, was the first to speak. "I've worried too much about my situation lately. Sometimes I feel like I'm losing touch with what really matters." "Me too," chimed in Jacob, the farmer with dirt beneath his nails. "I've thought too much about what I don't have, rather than trusting God to provide." Sarah felt warmth flood her heart as she listened. "Let us bring our burdens before the Lord," she said, guiding them gently. "Let us exchange our worries for His promises. Together, we stand stronger." With every surrender, the candles flickered brighter, illuminating not just the night but something magical within each heart. The stranger stood witness, a serene smile gracing his lips as he observed this transformation. "Tonight is but the first step," he said, voice carrying the weight of eternity. "You must keep this spirit alive. Miracles require faith in action. As you leave this place, share love generously. In so doing, you open the doors to abundance." Hours slipped by as laughter mingled with tears, hearts knit closer together by their collective faith. With renewed hope, the villagers began to share stories of their dreams, the visions God had laid upon their hearts. As the night deepened, Sarah felt the warmth of her community's shared conviction. Here was the miracle they had longed for, a bond, a deeper connection with each other and with the divine. The world felt wider and filled with promise, even amid their struggles. With the first signs of dawn creeping across the horizon, the villagers felt the call to action. They could sense a shift, an invitation to rise and live differently. Sarah stepped forward once more. "Let's meet tomorrow, not just to talk about dreams, but to put them into action. Let's be the hands and feet of love around us." Excitement rose, a ripple sweeping through the group. They were ready. But even as they committed to their newfound direction, Sarah couldn't shake the lingering questions within her heart. What specific steps should they take? What might God be stirring next in their lives? The stranger gave one last glance towards Sarah before melting back into the shadows from which he came. A mystery hung in the air, a promise fulfilled and yet unfulfilled. The villagers stared, feeling a thrill of anticipation wash over them, but the answers lay still ahead. Was their journey really just beginning? What divine surprises awaited them in the uncharted days ahead? The questions danced in the minds of those who would start taking their leaps of faith. The morning sun broke over the horizon, spilling golden light across the village, casting a radiant glow upon the dew-kissed grass. Sarah awoke with a heart full of anticipation. The words from the stranger echoed in her mind, instilling her with courage and hope. Today was not just another day. It was an opportunity to weave dreams into reality. Gathering her thoughts, Sarah stepped outside. The sweet fragrance of morning blossoms filled the air, mingling with the fresh, earthy scent of tilled soil from Jacob's fields. She smiled, already envisioning how they could transform their lives through love and action together. As the villagers began to gather, there was a buzz of excitement. Their eyes sparkled with the kind of brightness that comes from shared purpose. Each of them carried dreams, dreams that now felt tangible, almost within their grasp. "Let's start with a vision," Sarah proposed. "What do we wish to feel, to see in our lives and community?" The faces around her lit up, eager for expression. Mabel spoke first. "I want to see our children laughing and playing without fear or worry. I wish for them to flourish. In that laughter, we shall find our joy," another added. As the voices rose, Sarah noticed the stranger's quiet wisdom at work. With each shared dream, the villagers were painting a picture of hope, a vision of a brighter future. Their dreams were not individual, but interconnected, each thread woven into the fabric of communal life. "Now," Sarah continued, "what can we do to bring these visions into reality?" The question hung in the air, waiting for someone to breathe life into it. A silence settled over the group, but it was not the silence of doubt. It was pregnant with possibility. Finally, Jacob stepped forward, holding his tools in calloused hands, his eyes alight with a hard-won resolve. "I'll donate my time to cultivate community gardens. We could grow food together, nourishment for our bodies and bonds for our hearts." "Yes!" shouted one of the younger villagers, enthusiasm spilling over. "Let's not only grow food, but create a market. We can share our harvests and talents." Excitement surged like electricity. Ideas flowed, building upon one another until they felt like an unstoppable tide. They saw a community where each person offered their unique gifts. A baker here, a carpenter there, all were called to contribute. As they combined their efforts, Sarah realized they were creating something much bigger than just a vision. They were building a foundation of shared purpose. Miraculously, it felt as if the very atmosphere around them vibrated with potential. With newfound energy, they divided tasks, eager to get started. Arms intertwined, hearts aligned, they set off in different directions, each carrying a piece of the collective dream. Everywhere Sarah looked, she saw hope blossoming like flowers in springtime. As midday sun bore down and laughter rang out from all corners of the village, a strange event unfolded. An elderly woman, someone long lost to neglect and despair, stumbled into their midst, her eyes wide, searching for solace. All chatter ceased, and a hush fell over the gathering. Sarah felt an inexplicable pull to the woman. In her heart, she sensed a divine moment unfolding, a chance to extend their community's embrace. "Come, dear lady, you are home," she called out, arms open wide. The elder hesitated, but the flicker of recognition in the villager's eyes eased her fears. They approached gently, welcoming her to the hearts and hands of their blossoming community. As the woman stepped forward, a wave of warmth spread through Sarah's spirit. She realized then that the miracles were not just of planting gardens or sharing harvests, but of being a beacon of light and love to all. They were becoming instruments of divine abundance. But as joy filled the air, a flicker of doubt brushed through Sarah's heart again. What if they faltered? What if the binding promises made frayed under the burdens of reality? With a heavy heart, she gazed around at her vibrant village, feeling the weight of God's call upon them. "Together, we can change lives, not just ours," she whispered, "but hearts beyond these borders. Can we really do this?" In that moment, amidst the burgeoning hope, a spark of uncertainty ignited once more. What challenges would test their resolve? Could they walk steadfastly into the unknown? The question lingered in the air, echoing into the future, leaving them in the throes of divine curiosity. The journey had begun, but the path was still winding ahead. What trials awaited them, and how would they respond? As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting vibrant oranges and pinks across the village, the atmosphere remained thick with anticipation. The villagers had embodied hope, but now stood at the threshold of a challenge. They gathered once again, their collective energy restless yet determined, ready to confront what lay ahead. Sarah felt the unease tugging at her heart. "It is one thing to dream," she spoke softly, "and another to face the storms that may come upon us." Her voice rang with sincerity. "What if we fail?" A murmur rippled through the crowd. Doubts clawed at the edges of their spirits like thorns on a rose bush. Mabel stepped closer, placing a reassuring hand on Sarah's shoulder. "Weren't we just speaking of laughter and flourishing lives? Those dreams don't just come without effort. Every blossom struggles through the soil before it graces the sun." Her words sparked a flicker of resolve within Sarah. Yes, every dream needed nurturing. "We can choose to embrace our fears," she urged, "as they may yet guide us to unexpected opportunities." Encouraged, the villagers exchanged glances filled with newfound courage. One by one, they offered voices of reassurance. "Together, we can face any storm," Jacob added, his deep voice steady. "Let's lift each other, not just with words, but with our actions as well." And so they began to speak aloud their worries, each concern met with shared strength. The elderly woman, they learned, was named Agnes. Sarah welcomed her story, encouraging her to share the hardships she had faced in silence too long. As Agnes spoke of loneliness, a hush fell over the gathering. A need to heal was evident, and Sarah felt their hearts knitting together in the warmth of understanding. In the midst of sharing, Agnes revealed herself to be a skilled herbalist, someone with the knowledge to cultivate natural remedies. "I thought I had nothing left to give," she confessed, tears glistening in her aged eyes. "But perhaps I can help with the gardens, offer wisdom on the healing properties of the plants we grow." "Oh, Agnes!" cried Sarah, overwhelmed with gratitude. The villagers rallied behind her, expressing their eagerness to learn from this new light among them. With every person offering their unique talents, the collective dream began to flourish even more. They were not merely attempting to create a market or grow food. They were crafting the beating heart of their community. Yet still, a small voice of doubt echoed within Sarah. Could they really stand firm when harsh winds of life swept through? Would Agnes's wisdom be enough to guide them safely through storms of uncertainty and hardship? But as she looked into the faces surrounding her, filled with excitement, determination, and a growing sense of togetherness, she began to trust. Each step forward felt guided, as if a divine hand was gently nudging them along their path. Just as their spirits heightened, the skies above darkened unexpectedly. Clouds rolled in thick and heavy, casting shadows over the village. Rain began to pour, swiftly soaking the earth. The villagers gasped and hesitated, unsure whether to retreat or stand firm in their commitments. Sarah clenched her fists, heart pounding against her chest. "We can do this!" she cried out, fueled by the passion igniting within. "Let the rain wash away our fears. This is not the end. It is an invitation." With renewed fervor, the villagers joined hands, their hearts united like the roots of great trees. They stood together, a resilient front against nature and their doubts. As the rain fell, laughter bubbled forth, echoing through the valley. In that moment, they grasped a divine truth. Abundance thrives in adversity. The tears of the heavens poured blessings upon their dreams, saturating the very soil they would tend. Hope soared. Hearts danced. But there was still an unspoken question lingering among them. Could this bond withstand future tempests? What awaited them when the rain ceased and the clouds parted anew? As they stood, arms intertwined, united by their collective spirit, the answer felt as close as the thunder rumbling in the distance. Was it just the rain, or was it the sound of divine promise reverberating through their community, drawing them into the incredible unfolding ahead? The storm continued its fierce dance, whipping around the villagers, but the sound of laughter held strong, a melody rising above the chaos. Sarah could feel the pulse of togetherness. With each drop of rain, their resolve solidified. It was as if the heavens themselves were affirming their journey. "What now, dear friends?" Mabel's voice broke through the downpour. Each word vibrated with clarity, cutting through the noise. "We've shed our fears and shared our burdens. Let this rain remind us of the cleansing we seek. Each droplet is a step toward our destiny." The villagers nodded, their spirits lifted. They felt the weight of fear gradually slide away, replaced by an undeniable sense of possibility. As the storm surged, the earth drank deep, and life awakened in every corner. Sarah recalled the stories Agnes had shared. "The rains nourish the roots that drive forth the flowers," she repeated, a breath of hope rising in her heart. "Isn't that what we are? Each one of us a unique blossom waiting to flourish?" At that moment, a bright glance shimmered through the tempest. The clouds seemed to part slightly, allowing a beam of sunshine to pierce the canopy and land among them, a divine wink in their midst. "Look!" Jacob pointed upward, awe written on his face. "Even the skies rejoice with us. We are not alone." Their laughter fell sweetly, mingling with the raindrops. The storm's fury felt distant now, a mere backdrop to the vibrant tapestry they were weaving together. "I have a thought," Agnes said, her voice calm yet fortifying. "As we tread through this water, let's not forget those with no one to hold their hands. Our neighbors in need may also feel the waves of despair. We should not just grow for ourselves, but for the community surrounding us." A collective murmur of agreement stirred the crowd. Mabel stepped forward, her heart singing with inspiration. "Yes, this is how we grow, by expanding our roots and reaching out to others. Let us plant seeds of joy beyond these fields." With renewed purpose, the villagers began to share their visions, not merely for their gardens, but for the lives they could touch. The sound of dreaming erupted among them, flowing like a river of hope. And through all this, a new passion ignited within Sarah. Imagine a garden that not only feeds us but feeds all those who pass by, who yearn for kindness and nourishment. We could open our arms wide, inviting everyone to share our bushels of bounty. As they started sketching plans, a child nearby squealed with delight, lifting their arms to the skies, welcoming the rain onto their smiling face. That innocent joy rippled through Sarah's heart. It was a reminder that life thrived not just in the harvest, but in the shared experience of growth, the beauty of community becoming one. Just then, a gentle breeze swept through, almost playful, as if inviting them to take the next step. But a new tension hung in the air. This was only the beginning of their journey. Would the outside world embrace their dreams as wholeheartedly as they did? Sarah felt an electric pulse of uncertainty surge. Deep down, she sensed that the path ahead would require even deeper faith. Their collective resolve was growing, but so too was the weight of what they sought to build. Could they hold fast through greater trials ahead? As the rain waned and the sun emerged fully, casting its brilliant light over their hearts, Sarah wondered, what awaited them in the world beyond their tiny village? Would the dreams they nurtured burst forth into a vibrant reality, or fade away into silence? The question lingered in the air, seeking answers only time could unveil. As the last vestiges of the storm melted into the soft murmur of the breeze, the villagers stood together, eyes reflecting the golden embrace of the sun. Hope danced among them. The garden plans lay scattered, filled with scribbles and laughter, but it was the shared vision that mattered most. Each heart beat stronger in unity, buoyed by the electric spirit in the air. "Shall we begin?" Agnes whispered, her eyes sparkling. She sensed an undeniable shift, as if the earth itself held its breath in anticipation. "Let's gather the seeds in prayer, seeking guidance on which to plant first." The villagers nodded, forming a circle. Hands joined together, the warmth of their connection surged. As Mabel began to lead a simple prayer, voices rose together, enveloping them in a sweet melody, one of gratitude and aspiration. "Oh, gracious Creator," Mabel spoke softly, yet each word sliced through the air with unmistakable power. "Bless our hands and hearts as we embark on this journey. May our gardens bloom not just for us, but for every soul who passes by. Open our eyes to the needs surrounding us." As they prayed, the spirit of love wrapped around them, tangible like the fragrant soil they would soon till. And in that moment, Sarah felt a trembling passion course through her. The weight of their mission thrummed in her very veins. "We are the bearers of love," she exclaimed as the prayer drew to a close. "Let us be the light for others. This planting is more than flowers. It's a bold declaration of hope in a weary world." The villagers erupted in applause, laughter spilling like melodic streams under the sky. But Sarah held on to her renewed journey within. Each step they took was deliberate, sacred. They began gathering the earth's offerings, bags of seeds, tools, and water. It was all hands on deck, everyone stepping into the role that felt most natural. With each seed they buried into the moist earth, Sarah envisioned each one as a prayer, taking root, reaching high into the heavens. She laughed at herself, always imagining flowers bursting forth, when all around them lay the chaotic world, so much needing healing. "Sarah!" She heard Jacob's voice pulling her back from her reverie. "Look!" He pointed toward a nearby plot of land. An elderly woman stood there, weathered like the trees yet radiating strength, struggling with her cane. In that instant, Sarah's heart seized. "We must help her," she urged. Without hesitation, she jogged over, the villagers trailing behind like eager students following their teacher. "Hello, dear lady," Sarah greeted gently. "Can we lend you a hand?" The old woman's eyes lifted, startled but warming in an instant. "Oh, would you? I've been trying to clear this patch to plant my own flowers." Energy flowed through the young villagers, each acquiring a tool or piece of encouragement for the elder. They rallied and laughed together, thrumming with life. One person's need became another's zeal. It painted the air with divine synergy. As they worked, stories unfolded. The elders shared wisdom, while the children listened, wide-eyed. The community was weaving threads that would hang in eternity. When they completed the task, Margaret, the old woman, embraced Sarah, tears glistening in her eyes. "What a beautiful blessing you've brought to me. May your garden flourish and overflow." And at that moment, as blessings flowed between them, Sarah felt something crystalline crack inside her, joy mingled with purpose. They were not just planting seeds for themselves. They were designing a legacy of life, love, and abundance. But just as that joy settled deep, a shadow flickered in the distance. A group of strangers noticed the gathering, their faces cloaked in uncertainty. Would they come with open hearts, or would they challenge what the villagers had bravely cultivated? All eyes turned toward those approaching, hearts racing. Questions loomed in the air, begging for answers. Would this moment define them or fracture their dreams? As the sun dipped lower, casting a golden hue over the scene, Sarah felt the push of faith urging her forward. The unknown lay ahead, illuminating the path to unearthly possibilities. The murmurs of anticipation painted the air thick with emotion as the villagers stood, united in both hope and fear. Like the delicate petals of blooming flowers, they were unsure whether to open to embrace the new faces or retreat into their protective shells. Sarah stepped closer. She could sense the trepidation that hung over them, almost like a fog. Shifting her weight from one foot to another, she whispered a prayer in her heart, pleading for guidance. "God, grant us strength and understanding," she breathed, her palms pressed together, a silent call to the divine. The strangers drew near, their expressions undecided. Sarah caught glimpses of anxiety mixed with curiosity. The leader, a tall man with kind eyes, raised a hand in greeting, his voice steady yet soft. "We mean no harm. We heard laughter and wanted to see what joy was blooming here." "Joy is an abundant harvest," Sarah replied instinctively. "Come, let us share our garden and our hearts." A wave of courage surged through her, and she sensed the elements around them shifting, welcoming the new energy. The villagers stepped forward, drawn in by Sarah's warmth. One by one, hands reached out, welcoming the strangers into their sacred circle. The previous tension ebbed, replaced with smiles and introductions. Each exchange felt like a garden seed, filled with rich potential waiting to grow. In no time, they were laughing and sharing stories, weaving a tapestry of connection. One of the newcomers, named Eliana, spoke of her journey. "We traveled far, seeking a place where hope blooms amidst despair," she shared, her voice trembling with sincerity. "This garden of yours, what's the secret to your light?" Agnes, her heart touched by the young woman's vulnerability, replied, "It's not the soil or the seeds alone. It's the love we cultivate together. When we care for each other, our gardens grow." At that moment, revelations illuminated them all. A realization washed over the villagers like morning light breaking through the trees. They were not just protectors of their own blooms, but had the power to foster new growth in others too. As conversations flowed, Jacob offered, "Maybe we could combine our efforts. Together we can plant a larger garden, a gift for all to share." The villagers sprang up in enthusiasm. The idea charged the air with exhilarating energy. "We'll be multi-generational," Sarah beamed, feeling a collective heartbeat pulsating around her, blending into a single rhythm of purpose. With new hands, new hearts, and new dreams, we can sew a tapestry of life that extends beyond our village. As they forged plans to unite their gardens, Sarah's gaze drifted to the horizon, where the sun painted the sky in vibrant hues. Each color felt like a promise, a reminder of the miracles that await those who dare to step into the unknown with faith. But just then, a sudden gust of wind swept through, stirring whispers among the villagers. It seemed to carry a warning, the first hints of a brewing storm. Mabel's expression turned serious. We must be cautious. Not everyone views our unity with kindness. The tension returned, a stark contrast to their earlier joy. Shadows loomed next to the light, a reminder of struggles that could threaten the bonds they'd begun to weave. Would this new venture bring healing, or would it invite strife? As uncertainty loomed, the villagers held their breath, their fragile dreams hanging in the balance. Sarah's heart raced. She clutched her seeds tighter, feeling their promise pulse, one that whispered softly against doubt. What trials awaited them as they ventured further into this journey of unity? Would faith sustain them, or would the darkness overshadow their blossoming garden? The dawn of adventure beckoned, stirring within her a restless hope, igniting a determination that was just beginning to take root. The air was alive with reverberations of uncertainty, as if the very earth had begun to tremble in response to the uninvited winds. Sarah's heart thudded in her chest, keeping rhythm with the conflict between hope and fear that clashed in the hearts of her villagers. She glanced around, locking eyes with each face, searching for common ground within their shared vulnerability. Mabel, her brow knitted with concern, turned toward Sarah. "What if this change threatens our way of life?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. "What if those who come bring not just hands to help, but chaos?" "God often stirs the waters before a great calm," Sarah replied, her words firm, yet softened with compassion. "Our hearts must remain open, even amidst uncertainty." This reassurance, fragile as a new bloom, rested heavily upon her. Were they genuinely prepared for the hurdles ahead? The day had begun with laughter, yet it now hung precariously on the edge of doubt. Just then, Jacob stepped forward with a spark of determination igniting his eyes. "Our walls have kept us safe, but they've also kept away love and true friendship. If we brave this storm together, we will emerge stronger." The villagers murmured in agreement, the weight of his words dispelling the tension like mist in the dawn. Sarah felt the wind settle, as if the world conspired to back their courage. Faith stirred within each heart, lifting them above their fears. Would it be enough to sustain them through trials unseen? Drawing in a deep breath, Sarah gestured for everyone to gather. "We must pray," she invited. "Let us seek divine clarity as we plot the course ahead." The group formed a circle, hands clasped, hearts joined in the sacred act of united prayer. Closing her eyes, Sarah let the words flow. "Lord, bless us in this endeavor. May our hearts beat as one and guard us against the shadows that lurk. Help us to discern your will." As they prayed, something incredible happened. A profound peace washed over them, wrapping like a warm blanket against an encroaching chill. Some of the villagers began to share visions they were receiving. A young girl named Lily spoke of seeing the garden interspersed with bright flowers, an image that flickered with promise. Then, Eliana, filled with the Spirit, gasped softly, "I feel something, like a surge of energy. It's as if we are linked to an unstoppable force." Amidst this newfound harmony, an elder named Thomas raised a trembling hand. "But what if we change too much? What if we lose our identity?" His voice crackled with both worry and wisdom, a reminder of the delicate balance they sought. "Then we will redefine who we are together," Sarah replied, her voice steadying as she felt the divine shaping her thoughts. "Our identity is not a singular flower, but a vast garden thriving with diversity and unity." With each shared vision, each whispered prayer, the veil of uncertainty began to lift. A vibrant canvas of potential unfolded before them, bright and full of life. Faith, she realized, was like a seed that required nurturing, and their collective love would help it flourish. The sun dipped low, casting a golden hue across the gathering. But even as light reflected off their faces, a shadow emerged on the horizon. A distant figure was drawing closer, their intentions unclear. Questions bubbled up in Sarah's heart. Who were they? What would they bring? Fear or unity? As anticipation mounted and the sun dipped beneath the horizon, one thought lingered like a steady prayer. Could they truly soften the hearts of everyone who crossed their path? An echo of divine mystery beckoned them further into the waiting night. As the last light of day faded into twilight, an electric tension filled the air. The villagers stood, waiting and wondering, their hearts echoing with questions as uncertainty loomed before them like a thick fog. Sarah felt her heart race, a mix of fear and excitement surging through her veins as the figure approached. Each step resonated with the weight of unknown possibilities. "This is it," she breathed silently to herself, keeping her expression steady despite the fluttering in her chest. The figure came into focus, a woman, tall and resilient, her features weathered yet wise. A sense of kinship hung in the air as the villagers gathered closer. "Peace," the woman called, her voice warm yet commanding. "I come not to disrupt, but to offer my hand." As she spoke, the unease began to melt away. Mabel stepped forward, curiosity shining in her eyes. "What brings you to our village?" "I am Ilara," the traveler said, her gaze sweeping across the gathered crowd. "And I've heard of your blossoming community. I've traveled far to find a place that offers not just hope, but a deep sense of purpose." The words resonated like a soothing balm over the crowd. Hope and intrigue danced in their hearts as Sarah felt a flicker of inspiration ignite within her. "Together, we can build something extraordinary," she said, stepping forward. Ilara smiled, the warmth of their shared spirit igniting a spark of recognition amongst the villagers. "Your light is bright. I've come to bring knowledge of ancient practices, which can help your garden flourish even more richly than you can imagine." A hush fell over the gathering as the promises of new beginnings took root. Agnes's face lit up with delight. "Our garden could provide for many. We could face the challenges together, force life's flow into abundance." "Will you join us?" a voice called from the crowd, and one by one, hands reached out in solidarity, welcoming the stranger into their circle of light. Tears brimmed in Sarah's eyes as she witnessed the transformation of fear to unity. "This is the work of the divine," she murmured. "Together, let us cultivate this garden of dreams, planting not only seeds of food, but seeds of love and belonging." As they began to share their visions, the air thrummed with excitement. Discussions sparked ideas like fireflies on a summer night. Ilara spoke of sustainable practices that would ensure their garden nourished body and soul. "We can create a wave of abundance not just for ourselves, but for the entire community," she urged. The villagers gathered around her, hanging on her every word, eager to learn. With newfound clarity, Sarah could feel their collective faith fortifying like roots intertwining deep beneath the surface. But then, doubt crept in again. If they were to expand, what if their connections spread too thin? Mabel's voice broke the momentary silence. "We must protect our identity as we embrace this growth," she urged, and murmurings of concern echoed through the crowd. "Indeed, we must honor each other's gifts," Ilara interjected. "Together we grow stronger. Your village is a canvas, and every dream, every hope, is a unique stroke of paint." Once again, the gentle reminder of unity calmed the bubbling fears that coursed through them. Encouraged, Sarah took Ilara's hand. "Then let's weave together. We can remain true to our roots while growing branches that extend far beyond our village." And just like that, the storm of uncertainty faded, Laughter spilled forth as they embraced both the familiar and the unknown. As night settled in, gathering around under the painted canvas of stars, they felt a sense of profound peace wrapping around them like a gentle embrace. They joined hands, old and young, strangers and friends, solidarity blooming in the sacred ground they had created together. "Tomorrow, we'll turn our dreams into action," Sarah declared, a passionate flame lighting her spirit. "Let us prepare our hearts and seeds, ready to sow together as a community." The villagers echoed her sentiments, hope igniting within their hearts once more as they sensed the divine guidance hovering above them, leading the path ahead. But even amid such joy, a lingering tension sparked within Sarah's soul. Would their efforts withstand the tides of resistance? What storms might yet approach, and how would they weather them? At that moment she understood. Faith would be their anchor even in turbulent waters. As the stars twinkled above, Sarah felt a lightness lift her spirit, as if divine assurance echoed within her. Together, they would face whatever challenges awaited, and through faith, they would uncover the exquisite tapestry God had woven for them. Tomorrow would dawn brighter, and the world would see the power of their unity and love, a story that would ripple throughout, not just their village, but beyond. Now is the time for you to join the celebration of faith and love. Subscribe immediately to this channel so you don't miss out on more exclusive faith stories that can change lives. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread this powerful message of hope. Comment below with your reactions and testimonies about this conclusion. It's important to share your journey. And remember, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of faith. You need to support this community. Let's be the light for one another.